Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
This is the Pipeman here on the Adventures of Pipeman W4CY Radio, again with the Positively Pipeman segment and our special part of the show where we give you some powerful business strategies from our amazing guru of business from Next Step CFO, Michael Barbarita. How are you?
Excellent. How you doing, Dean?
I'm doing great.
Thanks for having me.
I understand this week we're going to talk about multimedia campaigns. That's a subject that I love.
Yeah. So what I'm finding is that, when I talk to clients and talk to business owners, they say it's hard for them to reach people with any credibility, because there's a lot of messages going out all different directions, all different angles. And what I found helpful for most business owners, in order to give yourself credibility and also, but still maintain or still have a contact that you're working with, is to do what I call multimedia campaigns. Now, when I was in the ski business, that was all we did. But at the time there was no internet, so it was all direct mail, radio, newspaper, billboard, sometimes an airplane flying over a beach. But it was a multi, yeah, it was a multimedia campaign, because by hitting people with different messages from different outlets, you're able to gain credibility, at least over time. And so let me explain how someone could do a multimedia campaign now, and it's a lot easier and a lot less expensive than what I just described when I was in the ski business. So first of all, everybody knows about email, so that's one point of contact, and that's one outlet. Next is ringless voicemail. I don't know if people know about that. There's all types of CRM platforms that offer what's called a ringless voicemail, where you have the telephone number of the client, of the customer, of the prospect, I should say, and their phone doesn't ring, but a voicemail is left. You also have the telephone itself to call and reach out. That's another way. Direct mail still works. I know, contrary to popular belief, direct mail also adds to the credibility, because you're not just spamming, as some people would perceive it. You could also text them, and you can also send them a LinkedIn message. So by utilizing all those points of attack, all those different outlets, you gain credibility with the prospect. It's not, because what you're doing is you're not just slamming them once or twice, or just with one outlet like email, which is considered a lazy person's way of connecting. You're actually connecting them from all different angles, and it builds your credibility as well as your credibility as to what you do, because you really have an intense interest in meeting this person and talking to this person.
Now, I have a question. You're talking about, and we've talked about it before, the ringless voicemail.
Right.
What does your research show of how people are reacting to that? Because part of me says, wow, that's a great idea, because it's the phone calls that are annoying, and I can choose to listen to the voicemail, but the phone calls are annoying. But then on the other side of it, I'm thinking, well, what if people are annoyed that you're just spamming as they would think, spamming a voicemail?
Right. Well, there's a couple of things on that. First of all, a lot of people think it's their cell phone especially, that has been mistimed some way, where they didn't get, because many times I get calls that should have rung from people I know, the phone should have rang and it didn't, because of the cell, being in between cells or something. So that's number one. Number two, no one particular outlet works by itself at all. And so with ringless voicemail, I have found less of an annoyance, but it does not work on its own. So if you're just doing a ringless voicemail campaign, forget it. That your credibility is shot.
Yeah.
But when you're attacking from all different outlets, it actually builds credibility because, oh, this guy must really want to talk to me, or this person must be authentic. And or maybe it's the fifth message when they finally decide to look you up online and see that you're credible. So it's the multimedia approach that is important, not necessarily any one outlet or any one medium.
Yeah, and to that point, I find that even what we're doing right now is part of those multimedia campaigns.
That's correct. That's correct. Absolutely. So, any type of outreach to any type of prospect, as long as it's in a multiple form, it's going to separate you from the rest. And what happens is it's like people don't want to use direct mail because it costs more, and it does. But remember back in my day, we had direct mail, but we also had to be on the radio. That costs more than emailing or anything like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We also had to be on the newspaper. That's expensive. Especially
you had to be in the yellow pages. That was expensive.
Oh God, I know it. Unbelievable. So you think about the cost, and when you talk about emailing, ringless voicemail, texting, LinkedIn connection, and direct mail, you're not talking about big costs there.
Yeah. And I think not just LinkedIn, I think all forms of social media. I think people look at you as more legitimate if you're on multiple social media.
That's another
just
thing,
one.
right? That's excellent point. Excellent point, T. Yeah, that's right. If you're on multiple social medias and direct messaging from multiple social medias, absolutely, that's another credibility factor because it shows you're working at it.
Yeah,
and it shows that you're not some type of scammer, because eventually you're going to be looked up and shown that you're credible, as long as you are.
Well, it's funny too. You mentioned LinkedIn, which I think is such a powerful tool for business, and but I also think that goes right in line with what you're saying, because I get 10 million spam messages in my LinkedIn every day, and so the only ones I'll pay attention to are people that I know from some other campaign.
That's it.
Not just the LinkedIn message.
Right. And by the way, you can use the telephone too. And what I do with that is, especially if I know I'm calling a cell phone, I'll make a call, I'll leave a message, and then I'll send a text right after. Just left you a message about ABC. Would love to speak to you. Boom. And that, once again, that combination, that shows that you did some of the work. In other words, you just didn't spam the text. You actually made a phone call and made a concerted effort to speak to that person.
There you go.
It goes a long way. It goes much further than just spraying stuff out there, which is what a lot of people are doing.
Oh, no doubt about it. And, to be successful, you do have to show some effort and some ingenuity and create a relationship. And you don't create that by just spamming one thing with no effort put into it.
And when you think about it too, Dean, if your effort is targeted, really targeted, I'm only talking about sending out 100 direct mail pieces, and then focusing on that 100 people and hitting them from all angles. I'm not talking about grabbing 3,000 and once again spraying it out there. You can't do it.
Yeah.
But if maybe 50 to 100 direct mail postcards or pieces, as well as the phone calls, the ringless voicemails, the texting, the LinkedIn messages, they all add up to credibility.
Absolutely. So, any other bits of advice you could give people about multimedia campaigns, and then how do they reach out to you to get even more help in this arena?
Right. So I just want to reiterate that it just helps going over the noise that's out there, and most people are going to take that inexpensive, cheap route of slamming, and this is a way where it's still inexpensive, but you're showing that you're providing more effort, that you really want to speak to somebody. And so the ways to reach me is go to my website, nextstepcfo.net. I love to do book interviews. Because business is always changing, and that we wrote our book about a little over a year ago, and we're constantly updating it with new information. And the way the book interview works, it's at 60 minutes on Zoom. I present strategies for my book, and then I ask you if that strategy were implemented in your industry, if it would be effective. And then and you comment it, and I comment on that, and I document it for the book. And that's
nice.
It. Yep.
Nice. I love it.
And yes, and the person who's being interviewed loves it because they learn about new strategies that they didn't know before that their competition isn't doing.
Well, you are a wealth of information. People definitely need to reach out to you and check out everything that you do. Even if this subject doesn't pertain to them, you have some definite, powerful business strategies. So thank you once again, Michael Barbarita from Next Step CFO. We look forward to talking to you next week, where we're just going to ask.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.